All right, jumping into the world of super greens today. Seems like you're after a real health kick, huh? We're going to break down this organic super greens powder from Global Healing.
Yeah, and global healing's an interesting one. They're big on the whole cleanse and detox thing, but they do a whole bunch of different supplements too.
But they're not just like all detox all the time.
Right, exactly. They've got a wider range. But what's got you curious is this whole sprout thing they've got going on with this blend. 15 different kinds, they say?
15. That's a whole lot of sprouts. Like, why even use sprouts in the first place? What's the advantage?
Well, think of it this way. A sprout is kind of like the concentrated form of a plant, right? All that nutrient density ready to explode with growth.
So it's like they're bottling that initial growth spurt.
Exactly. And Global Healing claims they use freeze-dried raw sprouts, not just regular greens. They say that keeps more of the good stuff intact. Oh, and they make a point of saying these sprouts are grown in the USA.
Okay, so hitting those sourcing and transparency buttons that people care about, but what about the actual benefits? They're claiming energy boosts, better gut health, easier digestion, the whole shebang. Plus, they say it's packed with antioxidants.
And honestly, with all those nutrient-dense sprouts we were talking about, those claims could hold water. Take broccoli sprouts, for example, which they include in this blend.
Broccoli sprouts, now, that's not something you hear every day.
Yeah, and they're loaded with this compound called sulforaphane. There's been research into how it can help your body's natural detox processes and a bunch of other things.
So they're not just throwing around buzzwords. There's actually some science behind this stuff.
There's definitely research to back up the potential of some of these ingredients. Now, of course, research on specific things doesn't always mean the final product will have the same effect, but it does show they've put some thought into what they're using.
All right, so 15 different sprouts. They're not messing around, are they? What's the all-star lineup here?
Well, they actually list everything on the product page, which is a good sign, transparency and all. Let's see, we've got garbanzo bean sprouts, pumpkin seed sprouts, amaranth sprouts.
Okay, keeping it pretty standard so far. Any curveballs in there? What's the wildest sprout I'm going to find?
Wild is relative, I guess, but they've got kidney bean sprouts, millet sprouts, even adzuki bean sprouts.
Adzuki bean sprouts. Okay, see, now we're talking. Deep dive success, learn something new. But does it kind of feel like they're just throwing a tiny bit of everything in there? Just for the variety?
You know, that's a fair point. But in this case, the variety might actually work in their favor. More different ingredients often means a wider range of nutrients.
Okay, I'm sold on the sprout front. They've definitely made their case. But it's not all sprouts, is it? They've got some other stuff going on in this mix.
Right. There are a couple of extra blends in here that caught my eye. They've got a clean energy blend with things like moringa and ashwagandha. And then there's one specifically for digestion. Shows they're being strategic, not just tossing random greens together.
Okay, so break it down for me. What are moringa and ashwagandha all about? And why the power couple pairing with the sprouts?
Great question. Moringa is often called the miracle tree.
Bold claim.
Right. It's crazy. Nutrient-dense, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, you name it.
Like overachiever of the plant world.
Pretty much. Now, ashwagandha, that's a different story. It's what's known as an adaptogen.
Adaptogen. Sounds
Yeah.
kind of intense. What's that mean exactly?
Basically, adaptogens are these herbs and some other plants and fungi that are thought to help your body deal with stress better. Not eliminate it, but roll with the punches, so to speak.
Like having a tiny little therapist in your back pocket, whispering chill vibes.
Exactly. And when you combine that stress-busting potential with the powerhouse moringa plus all the sprouts, it's a pretty compelling recipe for energy, for feeling good, all that.
Okay, they're 2 for 2 on the blend front. This is shaping up to be a pretty impressive super greens contender. But what about the people? Have we heard from anyone who's actually tried this stuff?
As a matter of fact, we have. There's a customer review right on their product page from a Travis N. Seems pretty happy with his experience.
All right, Travis Ann, let's hear it. Do all these fancy ingredients actually work in the real world? So Travis Ann says he's a big fan of the purity, which tracks right. Global healing, they're all about that clean living. But he also calls out the sprouts, says they're a powerhouse of nutrients. Sounds familiar.
Definitely. Always interesting to see how the marketing actually connects with people, you know, real world experience. But what I noticed, he mentions KSM 66 ashwagandha.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. Well, not really. Break it down for me. What's so special about that ashwagandha?
So it's basically a specific type of ashwagandha extract, highly concentrated, known for being really potent, and there's been some promising research on it, stress reduction, brain function, even athletic performance, some say.
So Travis N., he's really paying attention, huh? No, they're not just using ANY old ashwagandha.
Seems that way. Shows they're paying attention to the details, at least. Going for quality.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got our sprouts, we've got the science-y stuff, those extra blends. Travis N. chiming in, what's the bottom line?
For me, it's that global healing seems to be walking the walk. They're not just throwing around superfood buzzwords, using unique ingredients, 15 sprouts, come on. They're not hiding it. Transparency with the sourcing, the quality, that stands out.
Yeah, they're not afraid to get a little geeky with it, which I respect.
For sure. And while, as always, do your own research, talk to your doctor, all that, this Super Greens powder from Global Healing, it's looking like a solid option. If you're into the whole sprout thing and you want a company that's upfront about what they're doing, worth checking out.
Right. There's got to be something you actually enjoy drinking. Nobody wants a super green smoothie that tastes like punishment. So if 15 different sprouts sound intriguing, not terrifying, head on over to the show notes. We'll link it up. Happy researching, everybody.